I'll be down there for the Grammys.
Oh, tight.
Really?
Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Farside TV with my co-host Jeremy Scippio.
What's going on, people?
The gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? He hate when I say it. I know he do, but
Cause ain't no gates over here, bro. I got broken windows.
You know what I'm saying? And a very special guest brought to us via my homeboy from Houston, who's originally from New Orleans, man. Bass heavy. We have Corey Funkafangez Stoot. What's up with you, man?
Great. It's a blessing, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you fellas. You know, it's truly an honor. From H-Town to LA.
Okay.
Hey. Far side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Been a big fan, man.
Nice. So tell me this, man. When was the first time you heard hip hop, and what was the song?
Wow, Rockbox, Run DMC.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, before the Message, Grandmaster Flash. No, let me go further back. Rapper's Delight, Curtis Blow. Ooh. I didn't know rap was rap when I heard Curtis Blow. It was on Christmas. It was on during Christmas Eve. It was funky. And I was into music then. I was a little kid, but you would hear people, have house parties, Christmas parties, and that was one of the tunes. These, Curtis Blow. I can't remember the time. Of course. But
when did you first realize? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, when did you first realize you had a passion for music?
My sister used to sit me on her lap, and she would play these Al Green albums, and just feeling the emotion of music. My sister, my older, she's up in glory now, and she would Evangeline. She would put me on her lap, and we'd sit, and she would play these Al Green songs, and she started crying, and then I started crying. I think I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old, and you catch it in all these funk R&B groups, Average White Band, If I Ever Lose This Heaven, Parliament Funkadelics, to Ohio Players, Fire Album. Certain songs, I was able to feel the progression, the chord progressions, and the melodies that will put you in this mode. It can make you happy, or it can make you gloom, or it can make you put you in different modes, but spiritually, I mean, it gives you. I develop a connection with music. Yeah,
that's very interesting because, when Al Green plays, when you would hear Al Green music, not only could he hit keys with his voice, but with like the keyboards and some of the organ and some of the stuff that he had in his music.
Yeah,
it was those keys that would give you that emotion that would almost like a in church type of emotion where you hear that and it kind of like touches your soul.
Yeah, it was all church. It was all church soul. I mean, everything. I mean, it's our culture, Black, when I say our culture, Black, our culture was from the cotton fields. And there was only a few ways that Black people could express themselves. The master wouldn't let you really sing or do anything. There's only so much you could do while you in the cotton fields working, but on that off day, they would have service, church, and they would express themselves within singing and music. And it came out, either in the cotton fields or in the church. And there was always a split in between the two, because us as the African people would worship with the drums and dance and everything, expressing ourselves, you know. And the slave masters would take all the instruments from us and wouldn't let us express ourselves. We had different ways of expressing ourselves. And that's where you had gospel, church, and you had the blues, which is the birth of our rhythm, of our soul, birth of soul music, from the jazz to across the way, you know, and those roots are at this point right now not being practiced and not being exposed to the younger generation. You know, I can't find nothing that's on the radio that you can identify. You got different color artists that's calling their music R&B, but they ain't did the homework. And it's like, there's no substance. You can't feel it like you would feel Al Green or feel, feel Earth, Wind and Fire music. If the homework isn't done, if it's not studied correctly. Same thing with hip hop. They hated it in the beginning.
Yep.
But now they loving it, incorporating on it. They're trying to hold on and keep our culture hostage.
There's no romanticism in the music of today. You know what I'm saying? There's no romanticism. It's just about money. It's about money. It's about, talking crazy to possessions, like material possessions, like in possessions. And the craziest thing, women have gotten so used to it that they subscribe to even the most, sanctified, whatever. It's almost like it's just been done over and over and over now. Okay. In my day, we had a Too Short, you know what I'm saying? But for a Too Short, you also had it balanced out with a Big Daddy Kane. You had it balanced out with a Rakim. You had it balanced out with some other stuff. And then there was like a clever way that things were kind of done, where now the music is just so angry. And not to bash it, because I'm not gonna turn into that, but I think that the hip hop right now, the new hip hop is very emotional, and there's a lot of anger in it. There's some sadness, but there's a lot of anger in that. Because I was watching the Juice World documentary that they had on HBO, and it was crazy to me, because it's like you got this young kid, and like I couldn't connect to his music, but his fan base, which I can't deny his fan base, because he was doing huge festivals, he's flying private jets, he had a whole bunch of money, you know what I'm saying, or resources. I'll say it, if it wasn't cash money, like a whole bunch of resources. Like I saw him flying private jets, and he was hanging out with his buddies and all that kind of stuff, and he really like shoot, man, these dudes having Ferraris, this, that, and the third. And when they got into kind of like the substance of his music, like I want to say one of maybe his cousin or someone who was close to him said that so Juice WRLD, basically he got on a private plane. I want to say they were flying from somewhere to somewhere. I can't remember where they were flying, but they said the pilot was acting kind of funny style with him when they were on the plane. Which, man, I get that, because, dude, you got some young dudes on the plane
smoking weed,
smoking weed, drinking,
smoke on the plane,
pills. You know what I'm saying? They just taking it to the max. You know what I'm saying? So homeboy probably was just like, man,
it's wild.
These young
that old white man's like, look, get your asses off. I'm done. I can't do this. I can't.
He was like, you know what? I'm gonna call and have somebody waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they flew wherever they were going. And when they landed, they saw a bunch of police cars and stuff like that on the tarmac. But they still wasn't really thinking it was for them. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess when the police boarded the plane, Juice World, I guess he had like maybe Oxycontin or some type of drugs like that, pills, but he swallowed a whole bunch of them, like thinking that he's gonna do whatever. And so they said, like, you know, blood started running out his nose, coming out his mouth. He started seizing, but the police wasn't even tripping off of him seizing. They were handcuffing everybody. And I want to say they probably handcuffed everybody but him. And then the people that they were handcuffing was like, man, you need to get an ambulance here. This guy is, you know, like all his, you know, his girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? All his people saw him seizing. So, you know, he ended up passing away. And it's like, what I got out of watching that documentary is that there's a lot of emotional youth right now. Like, they weren't taught how to necessarily deal with their emotions. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has emotions. I'm sure Big Daddy Kane had emotions. I'm sure Rakim had emotions. I'm sure X-Clan, all this. But you got all these kids that like the no big brother type of you know, syndrome or whatever. But anyway, that was, you know,
they privileged with all this money that they never had in their life, and they just
no direction,
no one to say, hey, you know, do this here, manage this here. They're not managing their money right. You know, they just party. They're having fun. They're doing their thing, but, you know, it can come to a head later on. But those labels are sometimes just be like, hey, we don't care. We got his publishing.
Yeah, we gonna go. Yeah, we just gonna
let him have fun.
Hey, but you know, he was a beast freestyling though. I really wasn't a fan of his or anything like that. But I saw this one video where his homie just throw him a word and he'd just rip off that word, and homie throw another word, he'd rip off that word. You know, so it kind of does suck because, you know, a lot of those new rappers just be full of crap, but he was actually really good.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Corey, what was the name of your first band?
The first band I had was called Live Shop Players in the Third Ward area of Houston, Texas, near Texas Southern University. We used to play over at the coffee shops, a place called Mahogany Cafe. Corey McCoy and Keith and Kenneth Johnson, good friends of mine, and Michelle DeRush. But we used to play around and do hip hop instrumental stuff as a trio: bass, drums, and I was on guitar. And we would just do instrumental stuff, hip hop tunes, you know, even some of y'all tunes.
What was the music popping when you were in middle school?
In middle school, the music that was popping.
So like the music Prince, that kind of shaped you as a younger musician.
Oh, he said Prince. Oof.
Prince.
What song?
Van Halen. Rock, you know. The song was Controversy, 1999. 1999 album.
Wow. That album, boy.
That was the album that just, you know, made me say, wow. And my sister took me to the concert to see Prince with Vanity 6 and The Time.
Ooh-wee.
Vanity was like,
bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the concert. And that was the only best concert where you ever got to see Vanity. If you didn't check that show out. I mean, that was the 1999 tour. And that was really the period where I was really into the music, where I really made up my mind to say, I want to play. I want to get into the music. I want to learn how to play guitar. And within that time, I was playing in church. So it's just something that developed, you know. I just went to the library and grabbed books and stuff and learned how to play chords and I got coached here and there. So I didn't really have that training, the school training. I was one of those cats that would go in the garage and just blast, get 4 musicians, and we just make noise on the block.
So real quick, we have a comment section that people kind of chime in from time to time. I just try to get them just to keep them engaged or whatever. We got one question that says, are these young musicians just repeating the same thing musicians before them have done and writing about their surroundings?
Repeat that again. Say that again.
Are these young musicians just repeating the same thing the musicians before them have done, writing about their surroundings? I guess it sounds like they're kind of like in defense of like the younger guys, saying that, the older guys rapped about their surroundings and the young guys also rapping about their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
But
the younger cats today, a lot of the musicians that I see that are developed, that are coming out, are from the church. The younger cats today are they duplicating the 80s, but like I said, they have to go and do the homework. Some of them are doing it. They create, and some people want to just do their own thing. Create their own vibe. And what I hear a lot of musicians, like locally, if I go and hear someone playing a cover song, they'll be playing in their own way, as they call it, a neo soul vibe, and it doesn't have the structure like if it's original. Like Prince would always be like, respect my music. If you're gonna play it, play it the way it is, or don't play it at all. But a lot of cats are. I meet with other musicians, and if it's something that they're not doing, I like to sit and talk with them and share things with them to help them, play these chords right. They're bringing the church vibe into a club setting, and most people is like, I don't want to hear no church music. We want to party, we want to drink. Don't come in there singing this is that, which I respect, because that's a different thing. You can't bring two things. Always myself, I separate it. Okay, what you gonna do in church? You do in church. But you're gonna bring it in a club setting. That ain't what they gonna want to hear, because they drinking. I mean, of course, you can bring anyone to the Lord, you one-on-one talk to them or what have you, but nostalgia. When you playing the cover song and doing a gig, you want to bring people's nostalgia on where they were at. It could be any song, it could be any tune, but you want to play it right. You want to play it fully. Original, that's a whole different thing. Original music is always great, and I support original music, live music. Original music, your own composition. Which is cool. But it's a lot of bad cats out there. Like I say, that's from the church. I'm from the church, and a lot of my musicians that I work with and I play with, they're out of the church. Whoever I'm backing up, national, international. But that's the substance of it, as we talked about earlier. The blues, the gospel, you have substance underneath what you're doing. Whether you playing an Elton John song, or whether you playing a feel of like a Billy Joel,
So when you were in high school, what did you think your path was going to be?
Well, I know what I wanted my path to be. I didn't know what my path was going to be.
What did you want it to be?
Well, it was music, which it is now to this day. Being 51, it's like, here it is. Time has, there's so much stuff that I've done over the years. But it's like, I stayed focused through the time that I was in high school. I used to dress up like Prince and, had come in there. I was in the stage band and everything from ROTC to stage band.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, I learned music theory. So I pretty much, coached myself on that, and just had a few people here and there that would coach me on jazz. It was a jazz ensemble. So I stayed versatile and just listened to all kinds of music. My father, the late John Stoot, he was always into, music, and at the same time he was a police officer too, but his passion was music. And he would always tell me, don't just learn one thing, learn it all. Don't learn one genre of music, learn it all. And
well, we got another question from the comment section. They want to know, how do you feel about Kanye West's Sunday Service remix?
Sunday Service remix. I have to listen to it. That's a single. That's one of the singles that was released.
No. So Kanye's
just
been
doing the church thing.
Yeah, but what he does is since they're not cussing, whatever, they'll do like popular music, mostly any hip hop song. They'll take it and they'll like try to remix it and make it, kind of a cute thing.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've been keeping up. I've been keeping up with it. I've been keeping up with it, maybe about 45% of it. But from what I hear, Kanye has a fan base, and he got a lot of power in this industry. He's delivering. If you got a platform to deliver people to God, that's a great thing. I don't see anything wrong with it. As far as other things that I may disagree about, as far as the slavery thing, I'm just not understanding that.
You mean when he said slavery was a choice?
Right. Yeah. But what he's doing is creativity, it's freedom. He has freedom to do that, and he has a Houston-owned musician, Philip Cornish, who's like his MD, who's from Houston, Texas, doing a phenomenal job. And then he got Mike Dean from Houston.
Yes.
The producer who I worked with along with Rap a lot back in the day.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
How do you feel like the cultural climate affected what you do?
The cultural climate is how does it affect what I do? It's like I just have to have an open mind, and not be so quick to judge things as I see. And being in the industry, next week I can get a call. I might be working with someone. I do a lot of studio production from my place, and it's an MP3, and I work, overseas or wherever. I try to be open-minded and not be so critical too much, because everybody has a voice. Everybody have their own expression. Today's style of hip hop, trap music. I'm learning to. I try to learn to understand things where I can come in as a musician. It's like this. Let me just say this. When the musicians are at a church and the collection plates coming around, musicians will take a riff from any rap song or anything and just start inverted it into a instrumental piece. And it's like a few people in the whole church would recognize what that is. Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah.
The pastor might pick up on it. Hey. But that's the importance of how music is created. So important how you have the Travis Scotts. Some things you can intertwine in with to play creatively as a band, or some things you can't really hear to play creatively
Oh, I used to play keys, and man, you find the more things are different, the more you find that they're the same. It was so many songs because you be playing some or a couple chords, you like, oh, this sound like this, and
Yeah,
just because it sounds like something on the radio, I learned to play the little short version for the radio because I know it get a rise out of the people. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But one of the most common ones I can remember off the top of my head is the chords for we clap our hands in the sanctuary. That's the same chords for Monica's Angel of Mine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
Sure.
same exact song.
Angel of Mine. I never
Dun,
started that way.
dun,
You're right.
dun, dun. Man, I used to I would just play it fast or slow. I just switch it up like dun, 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 dun.
You never know the songwriters. We don't ever know what they think, but we would know what they thinking. On a musical term, we would know. It's like Stevie Wonder, for instance. I bet you didn't know this. The song Giant Steps.
Okay.
Okay, you know what Giant Steps. Down, 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 down.
By Stevie Wonder?
I'm trying to give you something.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Giant Steps, the chords of the changes. Now listen to Send Her the Love.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, okay.
Boom,
Dang.
boom, boom.
I'm about to
See
say,
how
right?
important-
I said, oh yeah. See,
You see how important music is to us as
That's
a
our
people in our
story.
culture?
come on.
Universal. We communicate with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
send her your love. Give
It's the
us
thing, yeah.
roses. Make sure it's roses. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm plugging it in right now. That's crazy.
Nah, so Corey, what I wanted to do was I wanted to build you up as the musician you are, and then bring people to let them know like the things that you've done in hip hop. Like I want because it's so easy to just start from the hip hop, but there's more to Corey Stoot, you know what I'm saying, than hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is a part of what you done, and I always like to find out what brought a musician to like where he is, or you know, like like where he is. What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Stay humble and do. Sky's the limit. Take it all. Learn it all. Yeah. God's first. Love God.
Okay.
Learn everything. Learn just, that's pretty much it.
Well, what's your most memorable hip hop experience?
Wow. Working for one, there's a couple of them actually. Working with Scarface. We've been rolling together for like about over 20 years. Formaldehyde High Funk Band is the name of the rhythm section, and we did like three big tours already, and currently, of course, he just received a kidney from his son, so he's like ready to get back on the road. We just did a big presentation of the beginning of the tour, farewell tour, at House of Blues here in Houston. And it was a beautiful thing, and also second, LL Cool J, working with LL Cool J was a blast. We did David Letterman show.
Okay.
How did that come to be?
Oh wow. My buddy DJ Cut Creator was living in Houston, and he brought me in to me, and I brought my drummer Savar Martin in on the act. And he said, look, we're gonna fly to New York and work with Al. It was a release of Headsprung. And so we got together. We did a rehearsal with DJ Cut Creator here in Houston. Then we went to New York, and then we rehearsed on the set of David Letterman. And it was LL came in. He had his trainer with him. You know, he's like, "Come on, y'all ready? Let's go. Let's do this." You know, and we're in the theater, on the same theater floor where the Beatles performed, where the Temptations performed, where Stevie Wonder, everybody, the Ed Sullivan Theater, which was, you know, phenomenal there, historic. And so we did that show, and that was pretty groovy, you know. And then after that, the next day, we went to Hit Factory, and L wanted to cut a rock version of the song, just to fill it out, you know. So we went in the studio, Hit Factory, next afternoon, and we cut a rock version of Headsprung. What he did with it, I don't know. I don't know what they did with the master. But L is so cool, so down to earth. Like, it's like he had like these big glasses on, these Bill Cosby glasses, and he was eating a Big Mac, a Big Mac and fries. And it's like his trainer wasn't around, so he was able to just do it. Yeah, but that's just showed me how much of a cool guy he is, you know. And then we got to be really cool with him, and then later on I did the Super Bowl with him in Miami during, can't remember what year that was. We did the Super Bowl, and then I was with him when he got his star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
He had all his boys, you know, that started with him show up. I was in LA at the time, and Cut Creator called me through, and I came and hung out with them, and it was a great historical moment. Got to meet Mike Tyson and Puffy, the whole crew, just the whole, you know, New York vibe. Rick Rubin, all these people I grew up watching on TV. I'm in the midst of all these folks, man. You know, Magic Johnson, his wife Cookie, and it was a beautiful thing, you know. But I worked with a lot, you know, just working with Scarface and the Ghetto Boys. There's so many hip hop, all the down south cats that I got to work with. You know, it was just mind-blowing.
UGK. That's the question I want to ask. UGK. How did that come about? I was in a session at Digital Services in Houston, and N.O. Joe, I guess that was a day when Mike Dean would show up or something. And he said, "Come over here, man. I need you to play a guitar and listen to it." And so I went in the console room, studio room, and Chad was in there, you know, Pimp C. He was in there just vibing, you know, he just had a flow about himself, you know. When he listened to the music, he got to feel it. I mean, he was like a soul brother, you know. He knew how to feel music, and so we went in the studio the next following day, me and N.O. Joe, and I played guitar, but he had bass, and so I played the bass and guitar on the piece. One of the tunes was High Life, and another one was Riding Dirty. And I didn't realize how big it was gonna get, you know. I mean, so we did that, we cut that, and I wasn't there when Bun B came in to cut his part. But he was there. They was all in the studio because we took our time. They were signing the Job records at the time, so you know we pretty much took our time to cut everything. You know, did the beats, did the beats, and laid some key parts, and then I came in. I laid the bass line. Boom, doom, 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 doom. Boom, boom, boom. Did that, and then I laid some wah wah on top of it, and like 3 layers of tracks, or guitar tracks on it, and before you know it, it was put out, and it was another single that was put out with Twister,
I'm a player, I'm a baller. And it was Zero also. I'm not if you're familiar with Zero, that was on Rap A Lot Records. But yeah. UGK was like that was like one of the best albums, one of the greatest albums of all time to me. Not just because I'm on it, but that was a pinnacle moment that things started changing for them. Their career wise was really shooting up.
We have another question from the comment section. They said, since funk is in your name, you pick James Brown or George Clinton?
Oh man, you always got to have a bucket to hold the water. You can't return the two, because the founder is James Brown is the founder. He's the father, and everybody that came out of his bag came in funkadelic, came into P Funk. I work with George as well. Yeah, I'm real tight with George, Uncle George. I wish I could have got to meet James Brown, but no, I hold on to both dearly, because James Brown was the beginning of the funk. He was the first one to bring the funk. Sly Stone second, George third, to my knowledge.
You answered.
In the mainstream, okay. Mainstream, you got George, and you got Sly, and I'm sorry, let me go back. James, Sly, George. Visionary. And Sly's still alive today. Out there in LA. Y'all don't ever run into him?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I know his daughter. We all Novena Caramel. Yeah. Novena. And it's interesting because his daughter, she was a musician before she just really transitioned over to being a DJ and a radio personality. And I actually got to see the two of them perform together at this little club called, it wasn't Zanzibar, the Temple. Not
the Mint?
No, it was, I want to say it was Zanzibar. It was in Santa Monica. I believe it was Zanzibar, but it was interesting because Zanzibar is a small club, probably held about like 200 people maxed out or whatever. So I'm all excited. I go down there. I get there early. I'm like, man, I'm going to get a seat. They're advertising it, Sly Stone. So this was around the same time that the Red Hot Chili Peppers, George Clinton did a Grammy performance. And it's interesting because at the time, I was tight with George's daughter, Barbarella. And at the time she managed Joy, and Joy was working with, she was on Raphael Sadiq's label at the time. And so I was able to watch them practice at Raphael's studio. And so there was a couple interesting things that I saw. Bootsy's interaction with George, when they hadn't really been in the same space for several years. Now, Bootsy was sober. So as sober is, like, man, like sober. And George, he come to LA, he's with all his old homeboys, man. They having a grand old time. And I saw them practicing, and I guess maybe interesting things that I saw. I guess Bootsy's expectation was, okay, we're gonna meet, we're gonna practice for this Grammys, whatever, and we're gonna go over the songs a couple of times, and then I'll leave. And man, I just saw the disgust in Bootsy's face, man, and he's like, man, I'm bouncing. He's like, I'm bouncing, man, and he bounced, and so I actually watched the performance when they played. And so the Red Hot Chili Peppers are out there playing, and George is there with them. And then this was the Grammys where Sly Stone, they wanted to honor him and give him his, give him a couple of flowers.
Yeah.
So he was wearing this mohawk, which he was wearing the night that it was a wig. He was wearing it the night that I saw him at Zanzibar. And it was like had the little skunk. It was black on the sides and it was gray.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
It was
I watched
great.
that on TV. I was like, wow.
And so Sly comes out and they're like, okay, we got Sly Stone. So he literally walked out on stage.
Silver Lizard.
Yeah. And he turned around and walked right back off the stage. He walked off the stage.
I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I remember that to this day. And I was telling some people, I say, there were too many motherfuckers on stage. He couldn't hear his mic. He got on there, started playing. He was trying to sing. He couldn't hear himself on the mic. And he's like, you know what? He turned around and split, walked off the stage. I remember that.
Now
everybody was singing. It was
a lot
around him. He had Sierra. He had Steven Tyler,
Anthony Peters
from Aerosmith. All these folks on stage, and everyone's excited, and they're singing, and he come on there trying to sing, and he didn't hear his boards. He couldn't hear himself sing. He was like,
he was on stage for about 40 seconds. He literally came and spun around.
Less than that. But yeah, I never got to meet Sly. He heard some of the stuff. He heard one of the tunes I did on Big Melo's album that was on Rap a Lot. It was a remake of Family Affair.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlon Clinton, who's from Houston, who's Carlon's, George's wife, let Sly hear the tune, and Sly was like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They playing my shit right." He was like excited to hear that. And when she told me that was kind of like an honor. I was like, wow. So at some point, I hope to meet Sly.
So now
I had 2 occasions to meet Sly. One, they did an appreciation. It was giving him an appreciation thing at this ceremony. I was at the NAMM convention, and I was right there on the edge of the stage. El DeBarge and Chico DeBarge and the rhythm section was part of Stevie Wonder's band. And they say, okay, y'all, Sly Stone, he walks right up on stage, get his award, shows it, turn around, walk right.
Yeah.
They was hoping he was gonna come up and say something. He's like, thank you. Just wave and turn around, walk right on out. I said, wow.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna ask you the hard question.
Okay.
What's it been like observing the South, who at one point really didn't get any shine, nationally? Regionally, they always, you've always had your regional artists, and Texas is a big, it's a huge state. So that's, that's a market, a very huge market within itself. So seeing New York, and then having the conversation of like New York and the West Coast and the South, like really not being a part of the conversation, to like within the last 10 to 15 years, the South just came from it. You're not going to agree with it because you're there, and I get it. But it's like kind of like the South just came from nowhere, man, and just took over. Like so you saw it when like the South really didn't get shine, and then with you, dealing with the Cash Money Cats and all that kind of stuff, you saw something bubbling. What's it like to right now see that basically the South is kind of dominating the airwaves as far as music, the South and Chicago, but more or less the South?
I think it was more than one artist that came out of the South, came out of Houston. I mean, we're talking about past and present.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
So
yeah,
kind of to make it a little more clear. So you were there with in the likes of Pimp C. You were there in the likes of Bun B. You were
within my
there.
generation. Within
Yeah.
my generation. Time.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll start in my generation.
Yeah, and then we're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring it forward.
That is generation. Archie Bell and Drells. Yeah. Okay. So, like, within that time, Rap A Lot was the first down south to, start their record label down south. New York was, people was on the New York tip and all that, but it's like Rap A Lot. Like, we got our own. We're gonna start our own. We're gonna, and so that was the beginning. That was the beginning of that movement. The Ghetto Boys, the Fifth Ward Boys, and a few others, other artists, Big Mellow, a whole roster, Gangsta. Let me see, and you had other labels that was in Houston. Suave House Records, 8-Ball MJG. Suave House started a label here, who I worked with, Space Age Pimpin', which was the second album, as well as Rap A Lot. I was the wah-wah guy working with all of these. I was playing wah-wah. I was reduplicating a lot of some of the stuff for different producers. The producers I worked with, and everybody wanted that sound. I mean, besides Mike being myself, we were like the musicians of that, But I was working with a whole conglomerate from the South Side, Little Kiki, and I was just coming up learning who DJ Screw was. All these people would be in the studio session where we would be working. I was part of a writing team called Crazy House Productions, Crazy C. Who was like the head leader of the production team, and then from there on, then you had me and Manny Fresh met each other, and he was calling me in to do session. He was introduced to me by one of the studio owners in Houston, Track Design, Nick Shatiro, and so he was calling me in to do sessions for stuff that he was doing. He was a DJ, and he was doing beats, creating beats as well. And then from there on, he would call me occasionally from time to time. And then one time he was like, "Hey man, this record label I'm working with, trying to get off the ground. And I was work with us, okay?" They said, "We're gonna be over here at the studio, just come on, show up, and bring a keyboard player, keyboard player." So okay. So I brought in my boy Beowulf that was working with me with Crazy House Productions. And we came in, and the first album we started working on was the Hot Boys first album.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then from there, Lil Wayne was just Lil
Wayne.
Lil Wayne then. And Turk, BG, and Juvie, they was all, Juvie was more older. He was more knowledgeable, more experienced, in the game. And from there on, it was like, okay, we're gonna fly you guys in every week, to New Orleans. And we was flying in, working during the week, from 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. We was grinding, we was working, BG, Chopper City, Big Times Volume 1, Big Times Volume 2, Juvie 400 Degrees, everything.
Just pop it out there. Wow.
Yeah, we was just flying to Nashville, recording in Nashville. We was just doing so much. We'd fly in, they have shows on the weekends. We'd go back home and just, regroup. And we was consecutively working with those guys for about maybe I want to say maybe 2 years until, all the way up until when it led up to their distribution deal with Universal. But before then, there was so many labels trying to grab these dudes. They was always flying in. They was doing good by themselves, and you know, independently.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you know, things popped up and things started going crazy, and I had to jump ship. Things got crazy.
I get it. That sounds like everybody's story about that.
Yeah, it got kind of crazy, and I'm like, you know, hey, ooh, gotta go. You know, but the thing is that everybody was young. Everybody was young at the time, you know. So certain things that was going on, everybody wasn't as educated on the business and understanding things. But one thing I could say is that it was a magnificent time working with those guys, with everyone. Brian Williams, Birdman, Ronald Williams' his brother, and Manny Fresh, you know, and Bear Wolf, Terrence Williams did a lot of the keys in the sense. I did a lot of guitars and the bass, and Manny did a lot of the programming. So, I mean, we basically brought in that H-Town sound because we had a chemistry. Me and Bear Wolf had a chemistry from doing a lot of remixes with LaFace Records. I got stuff all over my wall, you know, Outkast, Ghetto Boys, Resurrection Album, Naughty by Nature, you name it. I mean, we, you know.
Nah, you come highly recommended from my boy, man. Bass is my dude. He opened up. So Soul Remedy, his group, they opened up for us at the House of Blues in New Orleans, for the Far Side, the House of Blues in New Orleans, and the group was, if their guitar player hadn't passed away, they would have been something, man. I don't know what, like Marla Spirit's voice, bass heavy on that bass, and he could sing that baritone. And then the guitar player, I listened to that album to today. That the guitar player that passed away, Ira, I believe his name was. They had something, and the amazing part was this was coming up out of New Orleans. And I say that to say I was blessed to be able to kind of travel the country a little bit to hear the different types of music and things that were going on in different places. Because it's kind of like at that time that you're talking about, like Hot Boys time and whatnot. If you weren't there, you might not have heard it. And I'm speaking Hot Boys before they got the Universal deal. It's not like the Hot Boys started popping after they got the Universal deal. Nah, they were popping before the Universal deal. It was just that it wasn't necessarily hitting the West Coast,
it wasn't put out. It didn't get that push like it did. It pretty much kind of like within the South region. It didn't really, I don't think it really made much noise, but it is, I mean, I don't know. I have to go back and listen to it to really know, like to really hear. But everything that I, you know, was a part of, you know, to me, you know, was a musical chemistry, you know. I added the instruments to the groove, you know. I mean, they have worked hard. Those that, you know, they worked hard to get to that plateau, you know. And I was there. I was a part of that history. Now, my issue is when you go on Netflix and you talk about the hip hop and you don't acknowledge the musicians that fucking played on it, I got a problem with that. Because a lot of these record labels, I wouldn't even just say, record labels. and producers, as you know, and artists don't acknowledge the musicians that has been pinnacle into making their shit a hit.
But you understand why.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, put it this way.
You know, and my thing is that if a motherfucker, you go and Netflix and you, this little Netflix thing, and then you go to ASCAP, BMI, you receive the BMI awards, and you can't even mention anybody, the other people's name. You know, it's like, okay, well, have one of those reporters, you know, I would have told like a couple of reporters, hey, tell them to play a B flat 5 chord. Play a third, you know, a C minor. They wouldn't know what to do.
but you got to understand, it's like the only reason, like the only musicians that you really hear about in hip hop that like really, and when I say hear about, I mean like really out front and center, like a Scott Storch.
Wycliffe.
Yeah, Wycliffe. But I'll say Scott Storch though, because he was really instrumental to Dr. Dre's sound. You know what I'm saying? But they never really mentioned him until he stopped doing pop tunes, and he was kind of mentioned after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And after he did pop records and he kind of blew up doing pop records, then he would hop on the piano and then he'd start playing all this stuff, this Dre stuff and all that. And it's just kind of like, but Dre never just pushed Scott Storch out there and was like, okay, this is my piano man. This is the dude who's, you know, right. So that's just, you know.
Keep you in the dungeon. Don't let people, you know, they try to hide the work of what they, in other words, they keep their sound and everything, everybody who is a part of the creativity, they keep them hidden. You know, they don't want them getting out there because it may take something away from them, which it wouldn't. You know?
Might have. I'm not saying that it might. No, it definitely might have. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have this great band, you know what I'm saying, and you got this producer who's pretty much like, he's doing a little mixing and a little mastering, but he has these dope players, and he's like, you guys just come in here and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? You really don't want to, you know, you really don't.
I mean, some of the stuff that I've recorded on, I mean, I charted out and copyrighted. You know? So it's like, yeah.
See,
fuck with.
see, you smarter than the average bear though. So that's you're like an anomaly to that. But
because they don't know music theory. If you try right, like say for instance, like blurred lines. Okay, blurred lines within those bars. From it's like 4 to 8 bars or so. That rhythm with the cowbell was from "Get It Up, Mama Gay."
Yeah,
yeah. That song came out in 1978 or 79, 1978, and it was copyrighted. Cowbell, everything copyrighted.
Do you agree with the ruling of that? Because you know, I mean, there is like what is it, like up to 4 seconds you can actually take another song, but anything past that, the rhythm, whatever. But I don't know, that one was kind of weird though.
It was charted, but see, it was on Music Sheet. It was charted. It was charted on Music Sheet. You see, let me give you an example.
Yeah, that one was kind of
never Can Say Goodbye.
Okay.
When it's charted, it's copyright.
So it's more about the written copyright more than
this is the language of music. This is the other language of music. Okay. So Pharrell don't know how to. He might not know how to
Oh,
read
you
that.
sure? You stay.
He-
You don't think
he-
for real though?
So I don't know.
He seemed like he might know something.
Well, whoever agreed upon recording that tune, they didn't know how to read. They said, do it, put it down. Let's keep it. But when you read it, it's already been in the Library of Congress.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's what protected the gay family from winning.
Comedy is like that too. I think I heard like because Chris Rock was saying they used his niggas versus black people bit from Bring the Pain, right? They used it in the HBO show to explain it to somebody, but because it was on a record, that made it music, which made it some copyright like that. So basically, he can get paid from that, even though he wasn't the original person who came up with that concept, obviously. But because he has it, I don't know, something about publishing or how I don't understand how that works. But because it's written word, he's able to get paid off of HBO using it this specific way.
Yeah. And I mean, Richard Pryor, all of his stuff is copyrighted.
Wow.
You know, his stuff is
copyright's going.
that would protect a lot, you know. But a lot of people, they test stuff. Oh, I got this. They put out the mixtapes and this stuff don't be copyrighted. And then someone else pick it up and take it and copyright it and make money off of it.
I think you've already covered this, but has faith played a role in your decision-making process?
What now?
Has faith played a role in your decision-making process?
Faith?
Yes.
Faith? Oh yeah, discernment. Prayer, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Prayer, because you making a decision in things that you want to do or people you want to work with, people you may not work with before, and you want to make sure you trust folks, you know, that you're going to work with, and we just, you know, go up having faith to have that spiritual discernment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm explaining that right to you, answering your question, in other words.
Did you use discernment for I'm being messy. Was there any major work you've done but wasn't paid for?
Shit, yeah.
This kind of ties into the 2 questions ago.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
And there's some unfinished business with Cash Money Records, no doubt. Indeed. There's some unfinished business that we have to take care of. And, you know, like I say, things, if I knew what I knew then I knew now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If they knew then what they know now, things could have been a whole lot dealt with better. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I didn't lead. I mean, it wasn't like I just said I'm done with them. I just kind of try to handle business and discuss business with, you know, with them without for them to get an understanding. Like, okay, you know, let's do paperwork. And everybody then didn't understand paperwork, mm-hmm. You know, and they took it to a different level, was thinking other things, you know. They went the other route and took offense to it, you know.
What do you feel like the communication, and if it's too much, you know, or too deep, let me know, but what do you feel like the communication breakdown was if they're notorious at this point for not paying people, even like their major artists, you know? So like, what do you feel like that?
Well, at the time there were artists, their artists wasn't getting proper, you know, residuals like they should have gotten, you know. But like I say, they worked through that from so far from what I've heard. you know, they settled their situations, but there still needs to be some things settled with me, you know, and as well as Bear Wolf. But you know, at some point, we'll come together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you know, you can go through life for a while thinking, you know, that everything's cool when it's not cool. But like I say, I'm still, you know, I've recorded with a lot of other artists, so you know, I'm getting properly, you know, what I'm to get. But with that, there speaking, you know, quadruple, 400 degrees there, I'm sold a whole fucking lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, look, let me show you.
Here we
He got
go.
receipts. He got receipts.
Look
Calls
at
the
this.
receipt portion.
Look at that album.
Oof.
To present Corey Funkafangez, okay? Universal record. Okay, all right, so there you go. There you have it.
Oof.
Yeah.
Got the
So
receipt on the wall.
And I peed on all of that. Okay.
I love it.
It's funky. It's very funky. It's a very funky album if you haven't heard it.
what would your dream versus be, dead or alive?
Say it again.
What would your dream versus be? The musicians could be dead, or the band or the rappers could be dead or alive, going against each other.
Damn. I'm sorry. One more time.
What would your dream versus be? Like the Swiss Beats versus,
right,
and Timbaland versus. So if you could pick a musician or a rapper from any genre to go against a musician or another rapper from another genre, dead or alive, what would be your dream versus?
Damn. A musician going up against a rapper.
Or whatever. Just you know, two people that you see as being the greatest at their game of your personal liking.
I could see Beats by the Pound going against shit. Let me think. Let's see. Man, I don't know. I can't see it.
Nah, I mean, you're the second musician.
Great writers, you know, bass heavy and Beats by the Pound. You know, those guys, they're about one of the phenomenal cats. I can't really, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really know that. That's a tough subject. That's something to think about.
You're the second musician. You're the second musician I've stumped with that one. Like, man, someone that just knows and has so much exposure to music where it just kind of short circuits there. It's short.
But see, that's the thing. Not just, I mean, there's so much production of musicians that were part of rap labels, you know. Murder Inc., you know, they had a cat named Seven from St. Louis, you know. Seven is like, you know, I've worked with him. He was with Rap A Lot for a while.
Oh wow.
He was affiliated with Rap A Lot, and he redid Baby, 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 you know, for Ashanti, which was first Scarface.
Oh wow.
Mary Jane. Mary, 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 Mary. But yeah, Seven was the guy that did that for Ashanti. But like I could see him, but these guys would have musicians in the session, but they never really had, some of these people didn't have a foundation to like call, you know, like to, I mean, I could think of Swiss Beats. I mean, when you hear the word Swiss Beats, I don't know who all was in the Swiss Beats besides just, you know, that one guy, you know. Who's the guitar player? You know, they didn't have no guitar. They didn't have usually just one guy that's sampling guitar parts and samples and shit, you know. But down here, down south, and in H-Town, down south, we played the shit live, you know. It's like Isaac Hayes' rhythm section and stuff. When we had 3-6 Mafia, you know, they had some musicians playing on their shit, you know. But me, it was me, Mike Dean, and Crazy House Production with Bear Wolf and myself. And it was just, you know, it was just different. It was just that there really was no solid nucleus to bring anyone up front at the I mean, hell, the only person I think of is like the Roots. I say maybe the Roots and Swiss Beats. Not Root, no, the Roots and Beats by the Pound.
Yes.
I see them going.
Okay.
You know, I mean, the Roots is just a live band. I mean, they was a hip hop band. You know, I mean, they was on the scene. You know,
you want to hear something crazy? When I first saw the Roots, they were okay, and then they became great musicians. Like they grew. Like I really can say I saw them grow from a hip hop band where there was like a million of them. It was like once the Roots popped up, there was hip hop bands everywhere. Like every city you go to, you got a singer with some dreads, you know, at the time, short dreads at the time, Black Thought had short dreads and whatnot. And then it was crazy because like over a span, maybe it's because there were so many hip hop bands that were kind of like them, not on the radio. Like the radio wouldn't accept none of that. So it's kind of like there was only a slot for a group kind of like the Roots to do what they did. But they became great musicians, man. I mean, great. And then they also brought great musicians into the band, which that could.
Yeah, they did. Captain Kirk, you know, I might see them. Matter of fact, I'll be down there for the Grammys. I got a nomination. I'm a nominee.
Congratulations.
So I was one of the writers with Sean Londwin, and we'll be down there for the Grammys next month.
Heck yeah.
To get it.
Yeah, hopefully you will, man.
Under the grass.
Man, congratulations.
Category. So definitely I like to connect with you guys.
Oh, for sure.
Can you describe yourself 5 years ago?
5 years ago? 5 years ago? With less back problems. No, 5 years ago, musically, before all this other stuff started happening. Yeah. I mean, you know, I was on tour with Gloria Gaynor for the past 7 years.
Gloria Gaynor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And let's see, I was doing a lot of stuff touring. I was working with a few spot dates with Scarface. We was doing some shows on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And, you know, Temptations. I was out with Limitless Temptations Review. I do a lot of backup sideman for a lot of different artists. Yeah. International, Tony Ruption, you got Cat Core of Third World, Morgan Heritage. You know,
wait a minute. Let's spin this back. You said Cat of Third World?
Cat Core.
Ooh.
Yeah, part of the internet. We part of a all-star band in Anguilla with Banky Banks. Yeah, 5 years ago I was out with Banky Banks, working with Banky Banks, and I work with a lot of international artists as well.
Oh wow, that's a big deal.
Broad spectrum, and been around the world 4 times, man. You name it. You know, places that I'm as a Black American never seen. You know, just all those areas, from Switzerland to you name it. And one thing I could say is that people around the world want. I mean, they grasp onto the culture, and they watch everything that we do in America. That's why it's so careful on how we deliver in our music, you know, lyric content as well, because the world they pick up everything that we do here in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
they're inspired on everything that we do. You know, we inspired from Black, white, Chinese, Asian people, Japanese people singing gospel better than we sing. They got a mass gospel choir that's singing with pure soul. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like we're imitated, but never duplicated. You know, we inspire a world around the world. The world over there inspire us. You know, we're very well connected. You know, black music, black culture is what it is. I mean, our ancestors created everything. You know, so you know, we're envied by those that just hate. You know, but that's the power of God's people. You know.
Do you feel like it's better to be a jack of all trades or have a supreme mastery over one skill set?
Oh, it's always good to be the jack of all trades as much as you can, because it keeps you balanced. You know, you know, because I can't just do one genre of music. You know, I do it all, from rock to blues to jazz. I'll back up anybody. I'll get a call to go and do a country gig or a jazz gig or smooth jazz gig or a gospel gig or a disco gig, you know, funk, whatever, you know. And you know, it's good to have a variety, understanding each genre and learning about each genre of music, because that's what keeps us grounded. That's what keeps you grounded. You can separate the two. You know, someone said, give me some funk. Okay, you know how to play that funk. Give me some James Brown funk. Or give me a James Brown bass line, Bootsy Collins bass line. You know, you got to be able to identify each thing, you know, as well as hip hop too, you know. Like, you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, listening to hip hop and everything. So it's like if there's a whether it's Kanye West, whether it's a Puffy, a Biggie Smalls riff or whatever, you know, I got to be able to duplicate that, know that, you know the tune, 8 bars of the tune that's of the song, you know. I may not rap, but musically I can express it musically. Like I would play with my rhythm band. I would do an instrumental of 50 Cents, you know, 21 Questions, and play it live, you know, on the Funkafangez with the full rhythm section. And people would be like, damn, he's playing that. Yeah, man, yeah. Today's generation don't really, it's like when they hear a live band play some shit, play a hip hop tune or R&B tune or something, they kind of look sideways like, you know, this is our today culture. They don't know what a band sound like. They don't know what a guitar sound like, you know. Play a chord. When you play that shit live, they be like, oh yeah, man, you know, they go crazy, you know.
Real quick, you have a question that said, what's your thoughts on trap music and instruments do you think trap music can compare to? Yeah.
Trap music, you know, on the musical note, on the musical side of it, you know, I can create to it. I can create around it. You know, it's like let's say the instruments compared to bass, sound, and rhythm from good Jimmy or Skinner. Well, the thing is that the guitars can be, instruments can be played around a trap beat. A trap beat, trap is basically a beat, you know, and style of rapping is the style of rapping. On the musical note, a trap beat, you can create anything around a trap beat, you know. It's just a different rhythm of a tone, of 808, you know, floor, kick, 2 and 4, or 4/4, you know. Yeah. Jimmy or Skinner, yeah. There's some rock to it, to a trap beat, you know. Some rock riffs. Some Jimi Hendrix riffs. I've done it. Matter of fact, I got a track I was working on day before yesterday, where I was laying some guitar tracks on a trap beat. You know, it gives it a feel, it gives it a substance when you have an instrument around what you around a beat. You know, it fattens it up, widens it out. You know, if you know what you're doing, you know, you got that. You know, not to embellish. You know, wow or chords. You know, yeah.
So I want to hit you with the last one, man. Where do you see? I can tell you've been well traveled. I can tell that you could probably do a lot of your production and whatnot from the house, but at the same time, at least in the past, the journey that you spoke on tonight, you've been in a lot of studio sessions. Where do you see the progression of social interaction going in the next 2 years with this whole Corona thing and all that?
That's a good one. I think that a lot of the production is going to be from people's home. I don't think the virus is going to stop anybody from having concerts or interacting musically, because it'll be a really big fight if you restrain people or mandate things to stop people from having a good time, or, you know, so it's like, it's not going to, the way things are going right now, next year, I'm thinking, this is me saying, I think next year things are gonna blow up. It's gonna come out. I think they're doing things right now to make sure that everybody's vaccinated. You come out, okay, things are spreading. The same thing, the same symptoms are spreading, but now they come on with a different name. I'm confused. Aren't you confused about that?
Yeah.
Sound like some bullshit.
The next one gonna be Lambda.
Yeah, Lambda. I mean, a fucking something that you can't even pronounce.
Yeah.
A Crumbin, I don't know who knows.
Omnicron.
And then, yeah, the elite, who powers that be, we jumped from having a war with Afghanistan, and now we're in this bio weapon thing going on, bio war, and you want to target Africa, black and brown countries. Why can't you say Switzerland? Why can't you say Poland? Why can't you say this? But Africa. But that's where they go and get the oil and get silvers and diamond and gold. The richest continent ever. Lithium, everything. So you want to scare us to not go to our country, go to Africa. You want to scare us from going over there. So while we are afraid to go over there, while that is over, while you're saying that it's infected, but they over there getting all the gold, diamonds, and stuff. We, you know, it's like stopping people from having economic development. You know, people from prospering, you know, money, you know, it's greed, you know, and that was the thing with the rap labels, you know, is they were progressing. There was their own entity making money. And then they came in and they seasoned and they shut a lot of Black record labels down. Everything changed. Distributions was shut down. So it's like, you know, but like I say, I'm going political. Sorry.
Nah. Hey man, this has been a good one. Matter of fact, I'm definitely gonna
music is our voice. Music can change everything. If you check out Kanye West show with Drake, if you check out you know, Scott show that was here in Houston. Mm-hmm. I stay like 7 minutes from where all of this stuff happened, you know. Mm-hmm. Music moves people. You know, you could change people's thoughts and mind through music. That's our weapon of change, you know. And that's all we have on this earth, that we can, you know, bring people together, bring cultures together. But we got to do the homework in order to understand what kind of weapon you got, you know, to use as a tool to teach others and reach others, you know, to each one teach one, you know.
So can you give us I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, can you give us your social media tag, your social, you know, media information and places where people can go and like see? What I wanted to do was show people the human side of you. Like your credits are like, man, we could talk about your credits for 3 shows. You know that's something we could, you know, we could take that forever. But if a person wanted to, if you wanted someone to learn about Corey Funkafangez Stoot, I'm sorry. Where would you tell them to start? Like, what's a good place, a place of reference?
Well, social media, Instagram, Corey Stoot, CoreyStoot, and the title is Funkafangez, Funkafangez. Yeah, you can follow me there. I always post stuff. I post more stuff on there than I do on Facebook. But Facebook is Corey Stoot, CoreyStoot. And I'm always, you know, open to sharing things and just keep people up to date on what I'm doing, you know, the activities and stuff that I do musically, you know, with other artists as well, and share things, you know, and new projects as well that's coming out next year.
Cool. And you, Jeremy, you got anything you want to shout out? Any shows coming up?
Merry Christmas, everybody. That'll be the shout out. Merry Christmas and maybe a Happy New Year.
He said maybe.
Season's greetings. Greetings. It's truly a blessing. Truly a blessing.
Also shout out to the chat, man. It was really active today. They really showed out and showed you some love. So I just want to give everybody, let me see, I can just name a bunch of people: Cindy Gill, Joe Schmo, Monique, was it Tiffany Michelle Music? You know, everybody.
Tiffany Michelle. Question. Yeah. Tiffany Michelle. I can't go without saying there's an artist named Tiffany Michelle. Check out her music. I worked with her. We produced a classic Sylvia tune called Pillow Talk. Okay. Pillow Talk. Her name is Tiffany Michelle, new artist on the scene. She has a single. Check that out. We get an opportunity.
I love the interviewer. So shoot her, have her, you know, connect the dots. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you get a minute.
Indeed.
All right, man. Well, no, man.
Having so much fun. Man, let's do this again. I hope I delivered right and, you know, did the right thing and explaining and everything. You know, so much to say, so much more to share. And I hope to see you guys soon.
No, we gonna have you back, and definitely give me like a week's head up before you come to LA, and I'll make sure I roll it out for you a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Yeah.
And if you like comedy, Jeremy's a hilarious comedian, and we'll have you come and check out. I'll say that.
Yeah, man.
And I'll have
come
you,
out.
Yeah. So we'll get it. So once again, this has been Splendid Radio on Farside TV.